Coming to you live from deep behind enemy lines in crazy California. It's Live and Late with Chase the Patriot.
You know, it's something that as I bring this right up to start with, this is nothing new with this idea of the FBI being political. You know, we're seeing quite a bit, these whistleblowers coming out and they're in disbelief. But the only difference is, instead of going after communists in our country, trying to root out that evil, they're now turning the powers of the federal government and the FBI towards the American people, red-blooded Americans who love their Constitution, love their government, and are upset about the corruption and fraud that we see in so many areas. Suspected communists. That's the whole purpose of the FBI to begin with. After World War II, before World War II even, you had a lot of communist sympathizers in many different countries. And whether it was Italy or whether it was the United States or whether it was, they didn't want to see what happened in Russia happening in our country or other countries. So there were extreme measures taken, one of which was the use of the FBI to investigate, to spy, and to root out communists within our own country and within our own government. And taking that to the extreme is the case, of course, of what was done to Martin Luther King Jr. Now, private companies like Bank of America and others were using your data, what you thought was private data of just making a transaction. Now remember, we just talked yesterday about financial stuff and the digital currencies they're trying to bring in, and that will end any privacy you have of movement and travel or anything in the marketplace. But they're already doing it now, just doing it under the table and doing it in such a shady way. We need to all be aware of it. So I want to show this clip and then we'll break down what's happening with this January 6th situation. Here we go.
Glimpses of just how the victimization is going on and how it's victimization at scale. This is one fact that's struck me. The Bank of America record, the story that Bank of America turned over the credit card transactions, whether for an aircraft or a lodging or the purchase of a cup of coffee, for everyone who decided to come to Washington, to be in Washington area, the Northern Virginia area.
Prisoners, so many of which, I want you to understand, January 6, 2021, we're talking about over 2 years now. People have been sitting in their cells in Washington, D.C., many of which are still waiting for their day in court to try to prove their innocence. And in fact, they're not supposed to even be proving their innocence. The state's supposed to be proving their guilt. But so much of what we see in this crazy system today is everyone from the judges on down seem to be part of the whole corrupt program. And let me show you a little bit of what I mean by this. It's not just that I'm saying it because I'm on the internet and I can say whatever I want on here, but we can actually track through these articles and see who some of these people are who are making these decisions of throwing patriots into prison for years upon years simply because you may not like their political... In 2014, I believe it is, all right? In 2014, he was nominated by President Barack Obama, and it says in here, I want to read this quote from CNN. Let me read this to you here. This is their hero judge. You know, all those cases that go, whether it's immigration or if it's his personal cases with them trying to find every witch hunt they can on President Trump, they go to specific judges who they know they're going to get a good ruling from. Let's read in here. It says, one man's name has popped up frequently as the battle between President Donald Trump and lawmakers rumbles into the courts. Judge Amit Mehta. Mehta, a federal judge on the D.C. District Court, issued a 41-page opinion on Monday calling for a long-standing accounting firm for Trump to turn over records demanded by the House Oversight Committee. You guys that get information out there. As I said earlier, most important of all, make sure every one of you knows that you are a child of God, created in the image of God, and you have rights that are worth defending. So learn what those rights are so you can defend them into the future. Now, I got my website back here, ChaseThePatriot.com. You can find me on Twitter and on YouTube, and right here on Rumble. Rumble.com seems to be the place to be. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. We're going to go out with a little song here today. Here we go. I want a 10-gallon Stetson and a horse that bears my brand, 1,000 head of cattle on a great big piece of land.